Okay, so we've all been waiting for it, and last week there were some rumors that indicate that there are going to be some changes to the American Express Gold Card very soon. Now, the rumor mill has been churning hard, and there have been posts from reputable blogs that have detailed what these changes may be. But of course, these are always subject to change. Still, it's definitely fun to explore these rumors and discuss what exactly American Express is thinking when it comes to these rumored changes to the American Express Gold Card. So in this video, Dugroz and I will be going over them and giving our take. And then also we'll see what the response is from you, the community, as well. And with that being said, let's just jump right in. Okay, so that kind of brings us to our next question, which is specifically about what this live stream is probably going to be all about. And that's the thoughts on the new Amex Gold credit rumors. And we have them listed here on the side. I know Uncle Luke from Luke's Points of Miles made a great video, which I watched briefly right before this live stream. And CJ too, but CJ, his video was like right before, so I didn't have time to watch it yet. But there's going to be a lot of videos on this exact topic. I also make a video about it at some point when the actual refresh comes out, because I want to use the actual like changes when I do my video on it. But we'll talk about it here in the live stream for the presumed predicted changes, which is probably going to be very accurate, just because a lot of sources that are accurate have posted it. And so why don't we cover what they are, just so everyone knows what they're all about. We always talked about the $325 annual fee, which is the increase of $75 from $250. There's a sign-up offer of 60K points plus 20% back on restaurants up to $100. So the first $500 you spend on dining, you get cash back of 20%, which is nice. That will also help with an annual fee.
Is it cash back or 20x points?
It's probably going to be, well, I don't know if it's a statement credit or if it's a cash back. It's not clear. I would imagine it's a statement credit because that's what they've done in the past, but that's not to be
probably
quite yet.
Yeah, because an extra, if it were points, an extra 20x would put you at an 80,000 point functional bonus.
Yeah. Mike Wong actually says, are people really going to get this card because it's going to be white? I wish I had a picture of that because you didn't see it yet. You know, I mean, I really wish I kept it to get the white version, to be honest, and then cancel it right away. But it's going to be a $325 collector item if I do that. And so would I do that? Maybe. I don't know if it's going to be a limited time version versus a permanent like design version. If it's permanent, I'm not going to even bother. I'll just like wait until I just have more time to do more slots to do it. But I mean, I don't know if people will get it just because it's white. I know you probably wouldn't.
I would not.
You would not.
I've never gotten a credit card because of how it looks or feels. It's just not a thing for me. I mean, who am I impressing? The drive-through guy at Burger King? Ooh, that's a nice card.
Yes.
I've literally had one person in the last 5 years ever comment on the card itself.
Well, Gerald Alves says white not. So I like that. That's good. And then Wilfred Papaya says, yes, some people are getting it for the white version. There is some level of collectiveness to this because, I mean, I've done this before. I got the Delta 747 version in 2023 when it was that black 747. There was a white version this year, but I just didn't have any 524 slots to burn to do that. So it is something that happens. And so I think it is part of the marketing, which I think it's nice to have different design options. But that's the white gold card. That's part of the new update and refresh. We also have the $7 monthly Dunkin' Donuts credit. We have a $50 semi-annual Resi credit. Restaurants that are 4x limited to $50,000 per year or about $4,000 per month. Removing Milk Bar and Shake Shack from the food credit and adding Five Guys. $10 monthly Uber cash credit, which is same before. And then they also said $10 monthly Grubhub Shake Shack, but they said 2 points above that it's being removed. So maybe that was a typo or something. Maybe they meant like another vendor, but Shake Shack, it sounds like it's going away and Five Guys is being put up. I think Five Guys is kind of what was another proposed change that wasn't on this exact list either. So maybe that's what the typo was. So those are the actual things that are going to be put on. Dugroz, remind me, do you have an Amex Gold card?
I do not. We had, past tense, a gold card. It was in my wife's name, and about a year ago, we let that drop.
Okay.
About the same time everybody else started doing the same thing.
Can you explain to everyone, like, what was your decision of why you canceled the gold card 1 year ago?
So the first year, it was obviously worth it because of the sign-up bonus. It's always worth it in year one. And then the second year, they gave us a retention offer of some kind. I don't even remember what it was, but again, it made it worth it. And then it all comes back to that whole simplification thing. I don't want my life to be more complex that we discussed earlier. Yes, I live in the suburbs. I can drive to places that are on Uber Eats. I can drive to places that are on Grubhub and do a pickup and get my full value. But there was two things I found. One is, first of all, full value was rarely full value. I mean, we all know Grubhub marks prices up. So like there was a specific item at Pizza Hut. It was like a calzone, something like that, where if you just order it directly from Pizza Hut, it's like $8.50, but it was a little over $10 with Grubhub. So I'm not really getting my money's worth. And, I didn't have to change my behavior too much because it's not very far out of my way, but I had to make sure I did that every month. And then the same thing with Uber Eats. I don't live in a urban area, so I'm not naturally taking Uber. So I have to use Uber Eats every month. And when you factor those two credits in, if you give full value, it's about a break-even proposition. But I don't want to change my behavior to break even. I only want to change my behavior if I'm getting epic value. So I'm totally fine with getting 3x on my dining and groceries with something else, paying no annual fee and not having to jump through all those hoops.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, including yourself, have started to realize that yes, there are statement credits on the gold card that have been helpful to reduce the effective annual fee, but there's so many 3x cards out there that have grocery category coverage as well as dining coverage that the juice is just really not worth the squeeze anymore. And now, So the gold card at this point is also becoming, like someone said before, more of a coupon book. And of course, Yuri comes into play saying that, yes, you can even get 5x on dining and groceries, not both, but you can get on one category with the city custom cash, provided you spend $500 per month or less. Of course, having player 2, you have 2 of those cards. You can then divide the 2 up between dining and groceries, but there's a lot of options other than the gold card that are just better because there's no annual fee. And someone else, like I said before, was saying that there's an increase in the coupon. I think it was David Williams said there's more of a coupon book now. And it's true because we're going from 2 monthly credits to 3 monthly credits and a semi-annual credit. I think we looked at the Resi credit, which is semi-annual, and then there's a Dunkin', there's like the Five Guys, and then there's like the Uber credit. The Five Guys, like the $10 dining credit for the certain merchants. So now you've made a card more expensive. You've added more statement credits. So you're paying for a card that is more complicated and I would say just less valuable because they really just capped your multipliers at that point. So it is really a niche card if you really want to earn on those 4x categories. Like you are pounding out spend on groceries, you are pounding out spend on your dining, then I think it'd be fine, right? Because that's kind of what this card's all about. But if you're not doing that, you're not spending not spending $2,000 a month on groceries, not spending $4,000 a month on dining, this card is probably not going to be you. And I love how Uncle Luke put it in his video. He said that for 99% of the people watching this video, it's probably not going to be for you.
Yeah, I think there's some exceptions. Like I know Chad from Chad's Money Minutes has said multiple times in his office, I don't know if this is still the case, but at least for a period of time, he would order lunch every single day, go pick it up for the whole office, then people would just reimburse him. So he's probably running $1,000 a week through that gold card. If I was in that situation, I would keep it too, but most of us aren't.
Yeah.
And then I look at the $50 Resi credit. Well, if you live in New York City or Los Angeles, great. But if you live in Des Moines, Iowa, there are 2 Resi restaurants in a 50-mile radius of where I live. And they're both restaurants that are inconvenient for me to get to and not a place I would naturally choose. So that credit's almost meaningless for me. What about you?
I see. Yeah, I mean, the Resi credits, I don't live in an area where there's a lot of them. I live kind of more inland in Southern California, so not in direct LA. And so, again, I've never really used Resi ever. I never have. I don't like use it. And so I know people in big cities probably do that, but I haven't in my daily life. And so it doesn't really affect me. It just gives me one more thing I have to like try to use every 6 months, which is it's if you have just the gold card, maybe that's fine. But what I found myself in was I have the platinum card, I have the business platinum card, I had the gold card, I had the business gold card, I had the Bonvoy Brilliant card, and they all had their own like credits, or the monthly, like, quarterly, semi-annually, and it is very overwhelming at some point. And so by making this gold card even with more credits, now there's more stuff to figure out. And thankfully, I've canceled this card a long time ago. And even Elman Gaming says he cancels his gold card if he wants to go too, thanks to my video. And so I'm glad that people are starting to realize that there may be some alternatives to Amex if it's not really right for them specifically. The gold card also does have that hotel collection. So Sunmaster does say, do we have any thoughts on the improved THC benefits, which is not marijuana, but it is actually, the hotel collection. They have early check-in, late checkout, and free breakfast for 2. I don't know if I have to look into that because I didn't see that. Maybe that was recent with this proposed changes. I used hotel collection very recently, and they had $100 dining credit when I went there. So that's what I'm familiar with. They have early check-in, late checkout, but they didn't offer either of those to me at the place I went, which was the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. But maybe to some other hotels in that collection, that's possible. Have you used that before, Dugroz?
I don't think so. So just make sure my memory's correct. Fine hotels and resorts, you can do a 1-night stay, but I think this one, THC, you have to do a 2-night stay or greater. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. No, I've never used it. I've only used the fine hotels.
Okay.
And only once ever.
I think the 2-night stay minimum is specifically for using the $200 platinum credit to have that apply for it. But I think you can still use hotel collection for just 1 night from what I can recall. If I'm wrong about that, chat, just let me know down in the chat, just because I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't really envision myself ever using it if I didn't get the $200 credit. So I can barely envision myself using it with the credit. But because like I said, I like the joy of free. So it would have to be really close to $200 for me to be attracted to that.
Yeah. And the QC Man also brings up a really good question too, or statement. The Bonvoy dining credit doesn't seem that bad since you can use it basically anywhere. And he's right. I use the Bonvoy Brilliant credit anywhere because it's $25 dining. And that's going to be, I think, a long-term card for me just because it gets you that platinum elite status for Marriott, as well as that $85K for that award. Is the monthly credit annoying? Yes. But at least it's not limited like the gold card is. And so they're really funneling you into a certain type of restaurant to go to. And also, Dunkin' Donuts, which is kind of interesting. Even the fact that it's $7, that's a weird number. I don't know if they calculated like what it would cost to get a small coffee with tax and whatever, what that value would be, but it's just a very random. It's not 5, it's not 10, it's 7. So I don't know what the reasoning or purpose of that was. But
well, and I believe the Blue Cash Preferred and the Blue Cash Everyday is also a $7 monthly benefit on Hulu. So maybe they're just kind of keeping the tradition alive.
Keep the tradition. Sunmaster17 also corrects me. He says, no, you cannot. You need 2 nights to get any of the hotel collection benefits. So I stand corrected. So you need, like you said before, Dugroz, you need 2 nights to get them. Clinton MacArthur says he's debating on canceling to the point where I just applied and was approved for the Blue Business Plus card today. 30, welcome offer. Good job. Congratulations. That's a great offer. I think the Blue Business Plus is a must for everyone using American Express because it is the best no annual fee card that keeps your MR points alive, especially when we're talking about canceling all of these higher annual fee cards like the Gold and the Platinum card.
Right now, that's the only Amex card my wife has is the Blue Business Plus. So it's just clinging on to those 200 or 300,000 points that she has, making sure they don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so there are 140 of you in the chat, so thank you so much for being here. I do want to just go to our next slide here, which is going to be a poll. I want to hear from all of you about what you think about the Amex Gold Card proposed changes. Again, please don't forget to hit the like button if you're just joining us. That really helps out the video and the live stream. So definitely hit that like button if you're getting value from this. I'm going to put up the ticker now, as well as put on the question on the stage now. Okay, so do you like the proposed card changes? Let me know. And so far, it looks like we're about 2/3 of the people say no. And there's actually a little bit of people that say yes. And so for those of you who would like to, share with the group why you think the changes are good, I think that would be very helpful for a lot of us to know why you actually think they're good. Because right now, all we're hearing, and this is just proposed changes, everyone, from what I've heard, thinks that it's bad. And so that would be something to think about. But it's, again, it looks almost exactly 67% of no and 33% say yes. And so we'll probably leave it at that at this point. Thoughts on this, Dugroz? What do you think?
It surprised me a little bit too. I thought it'd be about 90% no.
Yeah.
I see over in the comments someone, James Sahil, says, I'm a Grubhub and Dunkin' person. And I guess if you're someone that goes to Dunkin' Donuts every morning, Monday through Friday anyway, it would make sense. And if you use Grubhub a ton anyway, with any credit card, there's a use case out there. Maybe not any, but almost any credit card, there's a use case out there for someone that it works amazingly well for. So I don't want to disparage anyone who does like the changes by any means.
Yeah, sure.
But it doesn't fit me.
David Vest says that the Resi credits are likely to be semi-annual instead of monthly. Yes, that's good. I know that I believe the Delta cards have it as a quarterly credit, if I remember correctly. But I have to think back again. I can't remember. But it would be much better as semi-annual than monthly, because monthly is it's a lot. It's just, you'd have so many monthly credits on that Gold card, it'd be a little bit too much. We do have someone here saying Cartosis87 says that he likes it because the refresh is inevitable, and I'm glad it wasn't a monthly Resi credit. I also have a Dunkin' down the street and go regularly, so that's good. I think a lot of people that use Dunkin', which I would imagine being mostly in the Northeast because that's where they're based, and there's a Dunkin' like literally on every corner. I think that'd be a good thing for them if they use that. Now, the question I have is, are those individuals going to use the Dunkin' credit all the time at Dunkin', or just for that one credit, right? And so I would hope that we just use it for the one credit, but I think what Amex wants to do is make this Gold card more of a psychological thing where you just instinctively reach for your Gold card when you go to a coffee shop. I think that's what they're trying to do, because you don't want to carry so many things in your wallet, and so they just say, well, just go ahead and just do it that way. And so I don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to be interesting how people that actually use the Dunkin' credit, what that looks like for them as well. But we'll have to keep that in mind for sure.
A thought that I had is, I get what the last commenter's saying. On the other hand, I don't want to give credit card companies credit for screwing up less bad than they could have. I feel like, you get what I'm saying? Like, well, they could have made it even worse. They only made it a little bit worse.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know what? I'm going to go find a credit card that's better, not slightly worse.
I can see that. Matt Clausen says $84 a year for Dunkin' doesn't cover a month of my partner's Dunkin' spend. So Matt Clausen goes, or his partner at least, goes to Dunkin'. QC Man does say Delta cards are monthly, just like Jose Marzan Jr. says the Delta Resi credits are monthly. Outside NYC and LA, that's trash. I agree. I mean, there's tons of Resi restaurants in those big cities. There's no doubt about that. But if you're not in those big cities, like, you're not really going to be using that. Warren does agree with us that saying Amex want that us to overspend. For example, $7 a month, you're going to overspend in money. And it depends on where you go to for Dunkin'. If you just get like one small coffee, I don't know the prices of coffee at this point, but I'm sure it's around $7. But I can see coffee going higher than that if you get like a bigger, medium or large size, or adding a donut or something, or some kind of pastry. It's going to be part of it could be definitely over $7. What I would say though is that I think they're just targeting people that already go to Dunkin' for sure, because I don't think anyone in their right mind is going to go to Dunkin' just for $7 credit. They're trying to push people like us away that do that and say, we just want this to be a benefit for people that actually goes to Dunkin'. Sunmaster17 says he actually likes the changes as the credits on the Gold finally exceed the annual fee. So it is no longer just a bare break even, but proper value. But Dugroz, you mentioned something earlier that I think is important to say, and that is that
don't give full value if it's not really worth full value.
Correct. So what do you mean by that?
Well, there's two possible meanings. One is just the markup, and that happens more on third-party sites like Uber Eats or Grubhub. I gave an example one time of my favorite Mexican restaurant here in town. I went in once because I'd ordered on either Grubhub or Uber Eats, and they used to give me a bag of chips and salsa to go with my order for no additional charge, and they didn't give it to me. And when I asked, they basically said, Yeah, because of the markup on Uber Eats, we can't afford to give free chips. If you order directly with us, we'll give you the free chips and salsa. But if you order through Uber Eats, we're not going to give you the free chips and salsa. So that's just a different way to tackle the $1, $2, $3 markup. So, if I have a $10 Uber Eats credit, but it only gets me a $7 taco, is it really a $10 credit or is it a $7 credit? So that's scenario number one. And then scenario number two is there was a video a long time ago by a YouTuber named Jake Bro. He doesn't even do credit cards now, but he used to. And he made a video called The Luxury Trap, where if we start altering our behavior to get credits and things like that, we're not really saving money. So if I used to stay at home and eat a ham sandwich every day, 30 days a month, and now I'm going to Dunkin' one day a month, and I'm going to Pizza Hut one day a month to use the Grubhub credit, and I'm going to Applebee's one day a month to use the Uber Eats credit, am I really saving money? Don't think I am.